Drizzy and T-Money blasting off the map. Mic check one, we igniting the chat. Big thoughts, big laughs, real talk on tap. From the stars to your ears, it's a certified slap. We break limits, no rules, no fear. Dropping gems every week, loud and clear. Vibes interstellar, mind so clever. Tune in once, you'll be hooked forever. This the blast off, where the wisdom collide. Rocket fuel flow, let the convo ride. From the cosmos down to the city stride. Every episode another joyride. Catch the wave, let the banter take flight. Brainstorm sparking through the depths of night. Underdogs talking, put the world in sight. All killer, no filler, just truth in the mic. Zone out, let the speakers combust. In a convo with hosts you can trust. Groundbreaking spins, no fine gold dust. It's a must, turn us up, adjust. This the blast off, where the wisdom collide. Rocket fuel flow, let the convo ride. From the cosmos down to the city stride. Every episode another joyride.
Don't sneeze on me.
Sorry, T-Money.
Get the hell out of here, Drizzy.
Okay. Welcome back to the Don't Sneeze on Me podcast.
How's it going, Drizzy?
It's going pretty good, T-Money. How we doing?
Not too bad. We definitely are feeling some of that summer weather kicking in.
Yeah, it's been pretty hot today, about 90 degrees.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, you fall asleep and it's like 30 degrees outside and you wake up and it's 90. I don't understand.
Yeah, up and down, just like my mood swings.
Exactly.
Yep.
And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I deal with that on a daily basis.
Oh, you're one to talk. You were already in a mood. Hangry, T-Money.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's deserved. But I want to say I'm glad that some of the people that listened to our last podcast agreed with some of the Mandela effects that we were talking about, because it justified us not being crazy.
Absolutely. It definitely made me feel a bit more sane.
Well, sane to a point, right?
Yeah, I mean a fraction.
So, Drizzy, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure growing up, you saw some of these alien movies that were all over, cinema.
Of course. Have you met me? Of course.
Exactly. So, were you an ET type of person, or were you an Independence Day type of person?
That's such a good question because they're so different. I think when I was younger, more ET, and then when I got older, Independence Day. But now that I'm even older, definitely go back to ET.
Oh, you went back. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I'm definitely not back. I'm definitely we're at the Independence Day stage.
I mean, I believe that aliens are more like the Independence Day,
Oh, yeah.
but
I mean,
my heart goes with ET.
the thing that always stuck out to me is what Stephen Hawking said. He said, "Oh, be careful on us sending these probes out into the universe," because he goes, "You don't know who's going to respond back." And he always warned us that if aliens were capable of getting here, they're capable of eliminating us.
We have no idea what's out there. Not
Oh.
a clue.
Not a clue. I mean, exactly what you said. That we know less about the universe than I think people realize. I mean, we know about as much as the universe as we know about the ocean depths that are on our own planet.
Don't we actually know more about space than we do the ocean?
Probably,
I mean-
probably. I wouldn't be surprised, because it really it's just an area that I don't think people realize how gigantic the universe is and how minuscule we are.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine some of the things that are deep in the ocean, even some of the things that we have already known about, look like aliens.
I mean, they always said that, and I think it's funny is they always said that if we ever died off, octopus would probably take over, because they said they're some of the smartest creatures on the planet.
They're smart and resilient.
Yeah, they're very adaptable.
Mhm.
I mean, I always watch Discovery, and they say that octopus are probably from another planet, and they just don't speak English.
I mean, explains why I have one as a tattoo on my arm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, speaking of don't speaking English, I don't know. What about those hillbilly stories? we
Oh
always hear?
my goodness. All right. When you talk about being abducted or any of these crazy, like, anal probe stories. And why is it always the hillbillies and the rednecks and they're drunk and the corner bar and like why is it always in the middle of nowhere? Can we not get
I don't
it?
know.
And as somebody who at least
I've
comes
had a
out as
couple
an
drunken
upstanding human being.
stories. I've had a couple drunken stories and memories that that there could have been anal probing in those stories as well. I don't know.
That's for another. That's for another episode. Sorry,
Yeah.
folks.
That's deep trauma story.
So going back to it though, like, does their GPS not work for big cities? Are they just attracted to more like rural areas? Like, what is it about it?
Well, I mean, even talking about the rural areas, I mean, crop circles. I mean, that's like some of the you hear about those things all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
out in the
and
fields, out in the
fields.
like the cornfields out there.
And yes, listen, there are people who fake crop circles. I'm not going to say that there aren't, but some of the crop circles that they've investigated, they say are just too complicated and there's no way that they could be created in a short hourly time. I mean, they say it's less than like 6 or 8 hours or something like that. And they said it's too dynamic and in depth that I don't know, but I mean but it's always out, like you said, it's always out in like the cornfields and like the redneck areas where not a lot of people are.
I think about that, like the amount of equipment they would need to accomplish something really, really huge and interesting, and it's just crazy, and how everything's like perfect measurements, perfect circles, perfect shapes.
That's what I think makes people so unsure what to call them, is because it's mathematically correct. And I think that's why scientists really have a hard time justifying what it is because they're like, you would have to see this from the sky to be able to get this correct.
Like the aerial view. But what's funny though, it's like, it's not just here. They're, hugely known in England, but it's all over the world. Crop circles pop up all over the world. So how is that something that's so uniform and across all different countries and areas and demographics, like something like that to pop up consistently? It's very interesting.
It's just unexplainable.
Yeah.
I mean, no one seems to have a good answer for it. And when they do have a good answer for it, it's faked. But I said it's not the same as some of these really intricate, or I don't know how you say it, intricate.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that one.
Yeah.
But it's really just it really is just unexplainable. I mean, that's like one of those the OG story of alien encounters. I mean,
let's talk about this.
I mean, everyone knows the story. Everyone knows that Roswell is the OG of alien encounters, and the type of excuses that are made, the type of stories that are generated. You're like, you guys don't seem to be on the same page here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Roswell cover-up refers to the widely held belief that the government concealed the truth about mysterious objects that crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. So, in the summer of 1947, a few incidents happened, right? So something crashed on a ranch about 75 miles north of Roswell. There's this rancher who discovered some unusual debris. It was like metallic strips and like rubber-like material and sticks. And he reported it to his local authorities. And they had actually brought in the military from the nearby Roswell Army Airfield. So they brought in the big guns.
I mean, I researched this story because aliens has always been a very interesting sort, type of theory to me. But when before that they brought in the military, I mean the local police department took pictures and things like that, and it was the pictures that they originally took compared to the pictures that the military provided were so different.
Oh yes,
and not even close. I mean. And their excuse of, I think when I was researching for our episode, it was, Oh, it's a weather balloon and
Oh yeah, so
test dummies. I mean, something like
yeah,
that.
so I'll talk you through that. So the Army put out a press release saying that they had recovered a flying disc, right? And they did that right after the incident. They did that on July 8th. So this was very, very close to when the incident actually occurred. So the Roswell Daily Record, they ran with the now famous headline, RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. So that basically told the public, right, that there was this unidentified flying object.
And the
But
news back then, it was not like the news today,
no, it was
where
just newspapers.
it's they actually reported news.
Yes.
So
This was a big deal. But then version 2, the government story. So the next day, right after July 8th, so July 9th, the next day, the Army walked it back and they claimed that the object was, like you said, a weather balloon. Nothing more. That's it. They displayed debris that was very, very different from what was actually captured
absolutely.
initially to back up their claim, and then it like waned the public interest. So because of the way that news was generated back then, this immediately, like, everybody's like, oh, okay, no big deal. There was no further investigation, no
Well-
further discussions.
Well, even the farmer and the sheriff who first engaged in this accident or this crash, they said the debris that they were shown versus the debris that was there the day before was completely different.
completely different.
And I mean, come on. I mean, these guys are not dumb. I mean, they're probably in their 30s and 40s. I mean, you're gonna know the difference between tinfoil and a metallic object that when you crush it, it re-expands and goes back to its original shape.
Yeah. What's funny though is like I said, public interest waned for 30 years. And then it was in the late 1970s that all of a sudden, like, this major interest in Roswell was reignited. And there was actually some former military personnel that came forward and they said that the object was a craft that was not from this earth. So this person came forward and admitted that what they found was not of this earth. And then other claims, people came forward and said that they saw alien beings being recovered and transported to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. And then the book, the Roswell incident, released in 1980, that really fueled the fire. That book was so popular.
Well, I mean, you want to know what's really weird is that when I was researching this, the mortician that was close to Roswell or close to the military base, I'm not sure which one it was, but he said that he got an order for 3 child-size coffins, which to be delivered to the military.
Why
base.
would you need that? Why would you need 3 child-sized coffins? And this was right after the incident.
Right after the incident. I think it was like the next day. So that just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's a military base, 1. And 2, unless, I mean, if 3 children died, I would think that would cause some sort of news outreach or something like that.
You would think, but again, that's not public knowledge necessarily. Like now it is. Now you can find these things out, but then it wasn't public. People didn't know these things.
Well, yeah, it wasn't public, but at the same time, it would have come out now. I mean, I think the Roswell story is bigger now than it was when it originally
I agree
came
with
out.
that.
So
I agree with that.
if there was 3 child deaths on a base close to Roswell,
Well, it wasn't children, obviously.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they want you to believe.
Well, it's
or what they don't want you to believe. I don't know which one.
Well, the government actually they released this final explanation. So in the 1990s, the Air Force came back and they released these new reports, and they claimed that the object was part of a Project Mogul, this some top secret operation using high altitude balloons to detect these Soviet nuclear tests. So claimed basically this was like this secret operation and like secret intelligence at the time.
Everything's a secret.
And those alien bodies that they claimed to find, they explained them away as crash test dummies used in high altitude parachute drops. Like, that is not an explanation.
I'm sorry, but people know what crash test dummies look like, and people know what beings that are not from this planet look like. I'm sorry.
100%.
I mean, don't give us some credit here.
You know, there's no question to me why people think it's a cover up, right? Like, I mean, going back to the flying saucer press release, why say that if it wasn't? Why even release that initially if that's not what it was? And then go back and quickly cover it up. Um, the quick retraction, the bait and switch, like it doesn't make sense.
It's because somebody was told to release a story that wasn't finally approved,
It
and
just
then they were like, "Oops." I mean, even in my job today, like I've done that before, where I hit send and I'm like, "Oops, wasn't supposed to send that."
Oh, yes. I've done that once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
But leading into that, you were actually telling me about this thing. There was this really interesting event that happened with the Air Force, talking about cover-ups. It was called Rendlesham Forest. I want to hear so much more about that.
So the Rendlesham Forest incident is like the OG of England. I mean, it is such a terrific story. I mean, it happened over 3 nights. And basically security patrols around the base saw strange lights like descending into the forest, and they first thought it was a downed aircraft, and that's why they went to investigate, because we're like, oh, people may need help. And they when they got there, they realized that it was a metallic object. It was like a triangle shaped object. I mean, the best that they could describe it. They said it had very unusual lighting that wasn't in the same, I guess, category as aircraft lighting. Like, aircraft, if you look at them now, they have very similar lights
Hmm.
everywhere. But this one, they said it was the colors were wrong, the position was wrong, and they they said it had basically strange markings. They said the best way that they described it was like Egyptian type markings on the outside of the craft. And
That's so strange.
I mean, it's just they couldn't identify it. And what was even crazier is these are trained military personnel, and one of them was actually taking observations and notes and things like that. And they went back the next morning, and there was like tree burns and like ground burns, like of like something that had been sitting there or had been hovering over there, like a hot object. I mean, you don't imagine these things. And
No, absolutely not. If and especially when there's multiple people that have these accounts of these situations happening, and they're talking about it too. It's not just a made up incident.
I mean, it didn't just happen over one night either. I mean, when we were talking about Roswell, that happened that was one night, and then the military was the next day.
So what was the official statement on it?
Well, it wasn't. See, it wasn't. The official statement is that it was a lighthouse.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And that's the reason why that's crazy, is because the nearest lighthouse was like almost 2 miles away. I mean, it was nowhere near. And they're saying, oh well, the light off that and the reflecting off the clouds and the environment created this visual aspect. And
Lies. It's all
it's lies.
lies.
I mean, but okay, let's say it was a lighthouse. One night of like that. This happened the next night. Something very similar happened. They said it was a little bit quieter, but there were still lights in the area that they couldn't explain. And then the third night, they said not only did the military security see it, but high up officials within the military were there with them as well.
Well, they also did they hear anything too? That like I don't know. I like
So
from what I'm looking up here, it says they heard some like weird audio too with it.
so it really came down to that it was like they said it was like a humming noise,
Okay.
like a low pitched hum, and that they
Like an electric kind of hum.
kind of like
Okay.
if you were near like a power, like one of those
Like one of those transformers.
transformer
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah.
You kind of hear that hum in the air. They said it was similar to that, and they said that they but like it moved through the trees, and like they said this object didn't just sit still. Like it
Mhm.
moved through the trees in a way that they only have aircraft that can do that now.
So
I mean, and
interesting.
you're
And
talking about
that's
you're
yeah.
talking about this happened in the 1980s,
Mhm.
and they said
45 years ago.
I mean, nothing ever came out of the craft. No beings or anything like that. But one of the most, extraordinary accounts with this is that one of the security guards said he touched the craft,
Oh,
and that he said for weeks on end he was having dreams of ones and zeros, like the computer
like
language.
code. Yeah.
Yeah, he was having
He's
dreams of ones
dreaming
and
in
zeros.
code.
And he said that until he wrote it down, he never stopped having those dreams. He goes, once he finally wrote it down, he said it was 4 pages long.
Did he ever figure out what it was?
I think he did put it in. I have to do a little bit more research on it, but I mean, I remember he wrote it out, and it was like it was like a legitimate message. I mean, it's computer language, so it's a legitimate
Yeah,
message.
it's code. I mean, if you plug it in, I'm
I
sure it
mean,
means something.
So basically,
Oh, that's so strange.
if you want to look up more about that, it's his writing is called the HALT, HALT memo. Look it up, and he's from it kind of describes the ones and zeros message that he got. But I mean, it really was a crazy encounter that happened over 3 nights that just doesn't really have a reason behind it except a lighthouse, which I don't believe so.
Bizarre. Must have been the most powerful flashlight in Antarctica.
Yeah, literally. But well, I mean, have you ever heard of Operation Highjump?
No. Enlighten me.
So Operation Highjump. Oh man, I love this. I love this one because it is a military story. I mean, they're
Most of these seem to be.
well, I mean, Operation Highjump basically is a theory that has come around, and it was done. It happened between 1946 and 1947.
Okay.
So right around the time.
That was the same time as Roswell.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Same time. Crazy. I mean, not crazy, but
I mean, not crazy, but I mean, at the same time, it's not a surprise that you're hearing about these things. But basically, Operation Highjump was a United States Navy Arctic expedition, and if anyone knows, the Arctic's unexplored. It's an area that no one has claims to.
Mhm.
So basically, what they were trying to do is it was a large scale mission that involved 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and about 4,700 personnel. So
that's a huge mission. That's
that's
a lot.
This is not something small, and
It's
basically
a big operation.
yeah, but basically what they wanted to do is they wanted to develop a research base on Antarctica, which
Mhm.
there are research bases down there, but the conditions are very, very, very
Yeah,
harsh.
it's brutal.
And basically, this operation was disrupted continually by what multiple people described as unidentified flying objects that came out of the ocean and engaged them.
No, out of the ocean?
Out of the ocean.
Like, not on this guy, out of the ocean.
So they're saying that these objects were able to raise out of the ocean,
I'm
go
out.
into the air,
I'm out.
fly at you, and then proceed back into the ocean.
Oh, no, thank you. That's too much.
And they said that there were multiple accounts that said that they described these objects as hostile flying saucers.
Like aggressive.
Aggressive.
Ooh.
Like that, like you're not supposed to be here, and we're gonna tell you why you're not supposed to be here. And it's just crazy because this mission was halted and actually stopped because there were so many problems that of machinery breaking down, of horrible weather that just would kick up out of nowhere, and as they described, also people dying. And they said not like one or two, like a good 100 people died on this mission. So you think 4,700 years, like, no, that's not a big deal. But you lose 100 people on a military aggressive mission.
That's
like
a big number.
Yeah, I mean that's not just weather related, and they tried to relate it back, saying, well, the reason the government says this is it's always the government. The government always says the reason why it was averted was because of difficult weather, difficult conditions, and they finally didn't know really what could be accomplished by these missions. I mean, one of the theories, and like I said, I don't really buy this, is that they said that they got attacked by future Nazi regimes that had escaped from Nazi Germany went down to Antarctica, had help by all the like. Listen, like that's a little extreme, but I
So
can.
did they go to there to fight Nazis, but they
They
found
encountered aliens.
ice aliens
I,
instead? Like, what is this?
I really don't know. I mean, it's just a crazy story. I don't believe the Nazi one, but I do believe that maybe there's an area down there that we're not supposed to be in because
I believe that.
I've heard, I've watched a lot of documentaries. I've done my own research, and there are areas of Antarctica that if you go, you will be stopped
Mhm.
by. I mean, the best that these people have described is a military force. They said they're not really labeled out as being from any one country. Like it's a worldly force, like kind of like the United Nations. Like
Mhm.
they stop you.
Like, don't enter these certain areas.
You will
just
be escorted out
see,
because you're not
it's
supposed to be
interesting.
there.
And it's like not all of that is like very clear on maps either. So
I mean, it's not clear on maps, but at the same time, it's just crazy because, I mean, what are they hiding?
I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they-
Everything's being hidden from us. So every day we're lied to all the time. We know this.
Oh yeah, I mean we're lied to, left and right. I mean, right now the biggest lie is what Biden's it was a robot or something like that. I don't know. I've been hearing that one going around.
Oh, that's a good one. He's a
yeah,
robot.
exactly. He's a robot or he's a clone. Yeah.
Well, some more incidents that were covered up that I am just fascinated about. I love looking into these events because I come from a Navy family. A lot of my family was in the Navy, so I love this and I find it fascinating. So, there are these Navy UFO videos, and there are a series
Oh,
of
those recent ones.
yeah, they're
Oof.
those real declassified videos. They were just recently
Yeah.
declassified by the U.S. Navy.
You can't
pilot.
talk those away.
Well, they captured the new U.S. Navy pilots that appear to show the UFOs, and the government now calls them that. They call them unidentified aerial phenomenon, and they admitted that they are there and they are real. And these videos, like, they blew up the conversation around UFOs because for once, the U.S. government actually admitted that they were real.
I mean, I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse.
I don't know either, but there were 3 famous videos.
Oh yeah, I watched all 3 of them because all
right.
3 of them were
So
very
awesome. So you know
intriguing.
this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Tic Tac.
That one is really
That was
really
the
good.
first.
That
was
one
the first
that
one.
one has the best commentary from pilots.
Yeah, so captured by pilots from USS Nimitz off the coast of Southern California. So this is like on our home turf, like these events are happening here, but it shows a white oblong object and they nicknamed it Tic Tac. And it's moving erratically with no visible wings, like no rotors, no exhaust, no engines. Like it doesn't look like there's anything really moving it. But this pilot commander described the object as defying the laws of physics. So it descended from about 60,000 feet to sea level in a matter of seconds.
And I mean that's what's interesting because when you hear pilots talk about flight and how objects move, they understand flight physics.
Mhm.
They understand what is capable of being done not only in an aircraft, but if a person was in that aircraft, how it just wouldn't you wouldn't be able to withstand that. It's just that is what I find these videos super interesting is that pilots don't know what it is.
No, but it was about 11 years later. There were two more incidents that were pretty close together. And the first one was Gimbal. So I know you've
Yeah.
seen that one.
I saw that one.
And that was also shot by the Navy pilots, but they were on the USS Theodore Roosevelt off the East Coast. So first, it was the West Coast. Now they're on the East Coast.
Now, wasn't that the one that like where it was letting off some type of like mystery gas that had no heat to it, and it was like spinning in the air real weird.
Yeah, and
I
it showed like a rotating saucer-like object. It was like flying against really, really heavy winds.
and not difficultly. Like it wasn't even like it was like you said flying against difficult winds. Yet this thing was just like cruising like it was like a normal day.
Well, the most fascinating part of it, I think, is that like the pilot in the video said that there was a whole fleet of them, not just one, a whole fleet of them.
I didn't read that.
That's crazy. That's also terrifying. But then let's skip ahead a little bit, but very near to Gimbal. Go Fast happened. So captured
Oh,
around the same
yeah,
time
yeah,
as
yeah,
Gimbal.
yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, it showed that really fast moving object skimming above the ocean surface, like just hovering like right above it. Um the camera like struggles to lock onto it,
Mm-hmm.
and the pilots are audibly like they're like, "Oh my god, whoa, got it," when they capture on film, but they were like amazed by what they were seeing. This thing was literally just like hovering and like skimming across the tip of the water.
It's just it defies what our understanding of physics is.
Yeah.
I mean, our aircraft can't do that. And I know they try to say that well, somebody else has developed. No, no. You want to know somebody else that developed us? That they ain't from this planet.
No.
That's who developed it.
Absolutely not. And the thing about these videos, they weren't like those like grainy, crappy like
Yeah, these were
Bigfoot.
military
They
videos.
weren't like Bigfoot style clips. Like they were like high quality and it like confirmed their authenticity. So it's like it's just bizarre. Like the Department of Defense said the objects remain unidentified. They said not that they're aliens, just that they're not currently explainable. So
Okay, if they're not alien, what are they then? Tell me what they are.
I don't have a clue.
I mean,
I don't have a clue what else they could be.
I mean, that really goes back to the question, as a civilization,
Yeah, I mean,
are we ready for it?
I mean, it depends. It depends on how we're approached. It depends on what their intent is coming to us. If that is the
It
case,
goes back to the ET or Independence Day question.
absolutely, absolutely. What do you think? What do you think it's gonna be?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people wouldn't be surprised. I think at this point, I think you're kind of, I think enough people believe in it that it's like, oh, okay. But as you said, what's the intent? As I go back to the Stephen Hawking comment,
Mhm.
he always said that if they're smart enough to be able to travel the universe, they're smart enough to get rid of us very quickly.
Absolutely, more cover-ups and more deceitful stories. Why did we stop going to the moon?
The moon is one of my favorite alien, research articles to look up. I mean, I listen. I watch a lot of Discovery, but I also do a lot of reading. It's not just
You
me.
do.
I do.
You can read.
Well,
I'm
the big
fascinated.
words I gotta phonetically sound out, but I mean, for the most part, I get what I'm trying to go. But the moon is, I mean, the to say the least, there is a gigantic either cover up or there's a gigantic theory that's going on that says the moon is artificial. And
Really?
I
Fake
mean,
moon.
fake moon. I mean, so listen, we as a show we try not to go too much into religion, but in the Bible there is a passage that says a time before the moon. Now, remember that, and remember the giant flood that
Mm-hmm.
encased the earth.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen if you brought in a gigantic celestial being close to the earth and placed it in a position? What do you think would happen to the oceans? I mean, we have strong currents and strong
It would throw
tidal.
off everything. It would change everything.
So maybe religion and science aren't that far apart.
Maybe
Maybe that
not.
actually happened because now the reason why I say that the moon is fake is because something that they call it an alien satellite. It's a gigantic satellite. Now,
Uh-huh. I've heard that. I've heard it's like that's what it is. The
Yeah.
aliens are up there, dark side of the moon. They have a whole satellite station set up.
Exactly. And so the reason that this theory or this conspiracy theory, if you want to put it that way, got so big is during the NASA Apollo mission. And I mean that is where it really took off is because I believe it was Apollo 11 that when they launched off of the moon, they had a weighted, I guess you could say, part of the aircraft that they could eject
Mhm.
down towards the moon.
Yep, correct.
And the theory was is that when they were down, looking in, exploring the moon, that they would bury seismometers near where they were going to let this thing crash because they wanted to test the density of the moon.
Yep.
Very smart. And they said that when they launched this thing, that it hit the moon, and the moon, and it's, I will say, it's exactly how they described it. it rang like a bell.
Oh, I've heard that. Yes. And it was audible.
It was audible. They said,
Mhm.
and it rang like a bell for an hour. Not just like it rang for a bell, like a bell for a minute, for an hour. So
Mhm.
that means that that vibration echoed throughout the entire moon. And they
Mhm.
said the only reason that that would happen is if the moon was hollow, which
Yep.
is impossible.
Yep.
So I believe it was Apollo 12 that they went up there, and now they brought up a piece of the spacecraft that was much heavier and that was deliberately going to be launched. That's the whole reason this thing was attached
Mhm.
to the spacecraft, is that it was deliberately going to be launched at the moon.
Mhm.
So they did the same thing. They buried seismometers, but they buried more than one. They buried 3. They launched this thing from a higher distance, and it would, I forget the exact weight, so don't quote me on the weight, but they said that they launched this thing at immense speed, and it hit the moon, and they said it made the moon ring like a gong
Oh,
for 8 hours.
that's crazy. How did they end up landing on the moon if that's what that did?
I mean, the theory is that it has to be hollow.
Yeah.
There's no way,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what bells do. If you go down to Philadelphia and you listen to the Liberty Bell when it rings, or whatever bell they have up
Or
there
listen
now,
to any bell at all.
yeah, any bell, you hear that. The reason it vibrates like that is because it's hollow on the
Mhm.
inside, and it's
Well-
vibrating around.
I think my favorite theory is that there's theories that NASA cut the live stream and like switched to a classified radio station when Armstrong allegedly said something like, they're here, they're parked on the edge of the crater, they're
yeah.
watching us.
Mhm.
Like, no real recording of this, no actual recording of this exists. They are conspiracy theories, so I'm not gonna like claim that this is what really happened, but just interesting if that is something that did happen.
I mean, Buzz Aldrin said the same thing.
Oh, he had some amazing comments
Said the
about their
same
trip
thing.
to the moon.
I mean, he says we're not alone. He said they watched us the entire time up there. So how?
He said there was a light that was actually following Apollo 11.
Mhm.
He saw it following them.
I mean, there are plenty conspiracy theories out there right now that they said that. So there's 2 theories. Is that when there's a picture of Neil Armstrong on the moon that was taken by Buzz Aldrin,
Mhm.
and in his lens, they said, "Oh yeah, there's the spacecraft that they came in on."
Mm-hmm.
But they said it with science today, and they did like the mathematics. They said it just doesn't make sense.
Didn't make sense size-wise.
It's too low.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a theory that it was a boom mic. But I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I believe we went to the moon.
I think we did too. I agree with that. I just think that we
I think we
experienced
don't
something
know-
that made us never want to go back.
I think we don't know what it is, and I think
Mhm.
that maybe the theory of they told us not to go back is not that far fetched. I
Mhm.
mean, the moon is very close to us. It's closer than Mars.
Yeah.
So why not?
Why not explore it more?
But how about this? Why not build a rocket base or something, some sort of base where you can launch rockets to go to Mars? It would take you less time.
It would.
And you're probably in better position most of the time.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just not believable that, I think whatever happened on the moon, I think was unexplained. I think there's a reason why we don't go back now. And
I don't know. I also believe that like they were warned. I think that something warned them in some way not to go back, and I think that's a big part of it. Like, I think that it was very clear that humans were not invited there, and they shouldn't be there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just. I mean, there's so many stories out there that I mean, when you talk to airline pilots, when you talk to astronauts, and they give stories of like, oh, we were told not to say anything. Why?
Why? Why not talk about it? Why not tell us what's going on?
I mean-
Why can't we know?
I mean, pilots say that if they say anything, they lose their pilot's license
It doesn't make sense.
because they're supposedly they're crazy.
It doesn't make sense when these things are they're common stories and they're all over the world, and this is something that like people talk about. So why not be honest about it? Why not be clear about what these things are? Don't tell me we don't know what they are. We know exactly what they are. The government does, at least. We're just all kept in the dark.
And I don't understand it. Why cover it up? Why keep us in the dark?
I don't know. Do you think that, there's any chance that there could ever be some sort of alien beings walking among us, like here and we don't know, like
I mean,
planted into
they
society?
they describe that now. I mean, they say that they're walking among us, they're observing us. I
I think about
mean,
like Men in Black, like they're all undercover.
there are many, many, many stories of Men in
I
Black.
work in New York City, so I would not be surprised if most of what I see was actually aliens.
It's cab drivers.
Oh, not just them. There's some. Whoo. Okay,
Uber,
not getting
Uber
into that.
drivers too.
Everyone. Lots of strange aliens in New York City. But I think about that. Like, what if? And like, why is the government so slow with leaking information out to us? Like, why do they just give us little nibbles of information here and there? It like half truths. It's not the full story. Like these weird weather explanations, like the weather balloons and whatnot. Why not just be honest about it? What do they think the people are going to do?
See, here's the problem: is if the government admits it now, they jeopardize all their credibility moving forward.
But it's not even just the U.S. government; it's the entire world.
Well, I mean, that's why they always say that there's one world government. That it's a shadow government that operates everything. I mean, I've heard of the Illuminati, and then you get the stonemasons and
Yep,
stuff like that.
they all have like alien
Oh yeah,
connections. And
everybody
things,
has
yeah.
it. I mean, even now the Pope, or the Catholic religion has pushed towards, okay with maybe there's possibility of being
There could be something else.
outside people around.
Absolutely, and not to bring up religion, but if there were aliens, maybe they look like us. They talk about being made in what? Like you mentioned to me, like outside of this, like a different conversation, you mentioned to me about like how people are made in God's image, right? And how
yeah.
like that could kind of make religion not
I mean, like
valid.
I said, does that jeopardize religion altogether?
I don't know. What if they look like people? What if they look human?
I mean, like I said, God made us in His image. So he didn't necessarily
But that
make them in His image.
But
so.
that doesn't, yeah, but like this could be one idea of his image as well.
That's true.
One
I mean,
version.
everybody's version is different.
But anyways,
I really have to ask this question.
Okay.
And because it's something that everyone's definitely wondering, so don't look at me weird.
I'm going to look at you weird.
Yeah, I know. Alien sex.
Ugh, what about it?
Whenever I watch Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that, I don't know. Captain Kirk always made alien sex look pretty enjoyable.
I don't know. If they've got tentacles, we're talking.
I don't know. I mean, I think if they have tentacles, we're negotiating.
We are absolutely. I'm down for some tentacles. Just don't be me and ghost me. That's all.
Well, on that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to drop the mic.
We out.